Hi, welcome to Rosalind's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rosalind.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my podcast, Rosalind's Ramblings. This is episode 2, you guys. Okay, we're doing this again. I am so excited, and I'm honestly so very happy with how the last episode went. As you can tell, we've made some improvements. I have a microphone. I really hope that it's a lot better than the last episode. I don't think it was terrible, but I did use my voice memo, so I'm hoping that a microphone is better. I'm not gonna lie though, this is my second time recording it. I recorded it on Tuesday, so about 2 days ago, but the audio was not good at all. I did have it far away from my face, so that could be why, but this was a $9 microphone. So that could be why it's not the best. It was actually like $30, but I had a coupon or like a gift card, so that's why it was not too crazy expensive. So praying to the Lord that this one is a lot better. So we'll see. Hopefully this is the one you're listening to because that means it was better. But yeah, so let's just jump into today's episode. Today we're talking about my testimony. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys, and then we're going to be answering some questions that people might have about faith and how to go about faith. The topics on those, it's going to be because I'm a 22-year-old, I'm living my own, I'm living in Kentucky, I moved away from my family, so that can be kind of hard. So going over things like that, faith-based things. So I'm very excited. Also though, I did decide that I want to start doing a verse of the week and a song of the week that I think you guys should listen to and try and memorize. The verse, you don't have to memorize the song because it might be long ones. But for this week, let me pull it up somewhere. This week, our verse is Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And I think that this is a really good verse to memorize. I feel like Philippians, the book alone, is one that a lot of people tend to memorize for verses. But I feel like this one is a good one just because I feel like a lot of us in our 20s tend to be anxious and overwhelmed by a lot of things. So I feel like this could be a really good one just to have on your mind for a little bit and just give all your anxieties and your anxiousness over to God, because that's something I've been learning to do. Still learning to trust God and giving Him all my fears. So I want you guys to be having that verse on your mind for a little while for this week until the next episode, and then hopefully you'll let me know how it's helped you throughout your week, and we can conversate about that, and then maybe we can talk more about other verses. So that's it. That's this week's verse. And then the song for this week is "Talking to Jesus." It's by Elevation Worship featuring Brandon Lake. This song, you guys, all of Brandon Lake's songs are so good. I talked about one of his other ones, Too Good to Not Believe, last week. You guys, it is absolutely amazing. I'm in love with it. And it's kind of like commentary more than a song. It's hard to sing it, but just listening to it and just being in the moment with God, it's so good. I can't even begin to explain how good it is. I need you guys to go listen to it. It's so good. Those are the two for this week, and if you guys have any favorite songs or Bible verses, I want you to comment those as well. That way I can listen to it, and maybe it'll get more people to go read those verses or listen to those songs. So we'll see. The songs won't always be Christian songs. They might be more secular songs or whatever that I just think are really good that you should listen to. But it just depends. We'll go week by week with it. I'm not sure if I said yet, but this week we're sharing my testimony, and I'm very, very excited for that. I think that it's going to be really good. I'm going to say that my testimony, there isn't a huge turning point that I had that I was oh my gosh, God is so great. I need to be with Him. I wasn't addicted to drugs and that didn't happen. But I just want to remind you that your story is still important. So that's why I want to share this, because it's just a reminder to me and to hopefully others that just because I didn't have such a life-altering moment, that my testimony still matters, and if it can help even one person, that's amazing. So, with that, we are going to go into my testimony. Backstory. My parents got married at 18. They were high school sweethearts, and they had me whenever they were 20. So my parents didn't really grow up in church at all. I believe my mom started going before my dad I believe it was whenever she first had me, she started going. It was either right before she had me or right when she had me, she started going. And then my dad started going with her. So they kind of started our faith, I guess, in a way, from my knowledge. So I grew up in church from going with them whenever they started going, obviously. And I grew up in the children's ministry. We originally lived in Ohio till I was, I believe, 3 or 4, and then we moved to Arkansas, and I went to the same church since we moved to Arkansas up until I graduated and went to college. So I was there literally my entire life. My favorite church ever. I still, it's my absolute favorite church to this day, and if I could fly there every single weekend to go there, I absolutely would. But it was such an amazing church for me to go to, and I absolutely loved it. So if you're ever in Northwest Arkansas and are Christian, you should go to Cross Church. Any of the campuses are absolutely amazing. I love it. But sorry for the rambling. Oh my gosh, it fits in just amazing again. I grew up going to church, and obviously as a kid, I was in the child care area. And I sometimes just wanted to be there because my friends were there, as kids do. I just wanted to be there for my friends. And I think it was closer to the age of 7 or 8, I started to, actually listen to what was going on and what I was learning. And I was like, whoa, this God guy is, really cool. What he's doing for everyone is actually amazing. So I started to listen to it more and wasn't only going for my friends at that point. And, me and my parents obviously talked about God and, what he's done for us and how he's helped other people. But I remember this moment. I was in the back of my dad's truck. I think it was just the two of us. And I asked something like, Dad, I want to, why isn't God in my heart? I want him to be my heart. And he kind of explained, what it meant to me as I was 8 or 9, I think. As an 8 or 9-year-old should be explained that. And he was just praying over me in that moment, and he was like, do you want to accept Jesus into your heart? And I was like, yeah, I want him to be in my heart, obviously. So we prayed, and that was whenever I had originally accepted God in my heart. And we went to the student pastor, and at my church you had to go through a school, not really, but had to have a few meetings with him to basically go over everything that I was already learning to make sure that I understood what was going on and understand the choice that I was making in that moment, which I think is really awesome that they did that. So after I finished that, I was baptized. I know it was at a bigger event that I was baptized at, because it was either at the VBS in the summer or it was at the 4th of July. Because my church has these, the Vacation Bible School or the 4th of July, they have fireworks under the crosses, because we have the 3 big crosses there over where you can get baptized. I loved it though. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It was one of those times that I got baptized that summer when I was 8 or 9. Don't remember which age, if I'm being so honest. I wish I did though. And I went about my life. Obviously, I was so on fire for Jesus. And I was telling all my friends about God, you guys, God is so cool, you should come to church with me, all this stuff. And what's so cool is one of my best friends from elementary school, I had invited her to come to church with me. I think it was whenever I was younger in, elementary school that has happened. I was like, hey, Maddie, I really want you to come to church with me. You should really come. And her family was Catholic at the time. So she ended up coming, her and her little sister, who's the same age as my little sister, came to church with us, and we started hanging out. They started coming with us every single Wednesday, and my mom and dad would pick them up with us, and it'd be a friend date to go to church together on Wednesday nights. And then eventually they started coming on Sunday mornings instead of going to their normal church on Sunday mornings. And then over time, her mom started coming, and then her dad was atheist for a little bit. That's a whole nother crazy story. It still amazes me, and it makes me so happy and proud of him. But he ended up starting coming too. So now their entire family comes here. So that happened. And I went about the rest of elementary school, and then I went into middle school. And middle school was like okay for me. That's when I started to realize, like, oh, like there's more to God than just Him being in my heart and me loving Him and reading His Word. Like, there's like other things that you do whenever you're a Christian. And I started learning a lot more, obviously, whenever I went to middle school and I went up to a different age group in church. So I was officially in like the youth ministry instead of the children's ministry. And I remember being at church camp one summer. We were in Dallas, Texas, I believe. We were there doing I think it was called Rainbow Express, where you go around to different neighborhoods and like you share God's word with them. Like, hey, like come to this. Like the kids can come to this. We'll share God's word and stuff. And when I was teaching that, I was like, oh wow, like this is actually so cool. And then at one of the worship nights that we had just for the students that were there, I just like got this like something that came over me that I was like, I like know God so much better now. I like actually know like what I'm doing and what the purpose of being a follower of Christ is now. So I think I need to get rebaptized. So I went to my mom because my mom was a leader on this trip. And I was like, Mom, like, I think I want to get rebaptized. And she was like, that's so awesome. So we talked to the youth pastor. And what was really cool is that the day prior, they had already done baptisms. But I guess there were like 5 or 6 people that were like, hey, like, I want to get rebaptized. So that night, we went to the hotel pool. Everyone that was there for camp surrounded that pool, and we all got baptized there. And it was just such like a cool moment because it was like, well, like you don't have to be like at church, like physically at church to get baptized. You can literally get baptized anywhere. And it was just such a cool moment. And it was really awesome because like my mom was there with me, my best friends were there with me. So it was just such like, I was in awe of that moment. Like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool that like you can do this. So that happened. And then right after that, also, I'm sorry, that was in 8th grade, I believe. I went into high school, and something that was so cool is, I believe it was right before I went into high school, before I started, I went on a mission trip to Haiti, and that whole trip just like altered my brain chemistry, I swear. It was so like rewarding to go there and just get to share God's word and help these people just to see who God is. Because, like, they have their own beliefs. Some of them believe in, like, Buddhism. I think that's what it's called. I'm sorry. Like, witchery and stuff. But some people are, like, Christians who believe in God. And it was such a cool thing to experience and see how God was working there. Because there were mission trips that went there all the time, like, year-round. So it was really cool to get to see that. Oh, sorry. It was really cool to get to see that from my own eyes. So I love that, especially before going into high school, to like realize like, Rosalind, like you are so privileged to even be here and be in the United States and have everything that you have, especially like my family. Like I'm so lucky to have them. So that was such a great experience to have. And then I started high school, and I was so shy in high school, you guys, especially like my freshman and sophomore year. But then I believe it was sophomore year I started. At my church, there was this program called LIT. It stood for Leaders in Training. And we basically would go there during the summer. We would go there like a job a couple days out of the week. And we would just learn about God. We would plan events and stuff. And you would be in a different area depending on what you wanted to do, what like your strengths were, I guess. And mine was like the greeting team. So that really like pushed me out there more and got me talking to more people. So that was really good for me to experience and put myself out there more. And it was also really like constructive for me as a person, I feel like, because we got there early, we stayed late, we went there on days that nobody else was there, and just worked on things to build God's kingdom. And I feel like it was just a really good experience for me to have it. And then my little sister ended up going a little bit too. I think she just went for one summer, I believe. But it was a lot of fun. And I think that if anyone has the opportunity in their church, that you should do it. because it's honestly so rewarding getting to see God like move in people around you that you may have never thought people would experience God like that. So I think that you should for sure try that out if you have the opportunity. And I believe I was a part of that until summer before my senior year because COVID hit towards the end of my senior year. Yeah. So I did that then. We'd also do it throughout the school year. We just wouldn't meet, obviously, because we had school and classes and stuff, but we would still come like before and after services. Sorry, I blanked there for a minute. And then I ended up, what else? Oh, during my junior and senior year of high school, I was in this other program just for my school, though. It was called Ignite. So depending on what you thought you might want to do, you could be a part of these programs. Because on one side, I thought I wanted to be like a woman's leader in ministry, but then the other side, I was like, I love cooking and baking, so like maybe I can make a way to like incorporate the two. So I was part of the culinary program. So I went to basically culinary school for 2 years. I went there half the day, junior and senior year, part of senior year actually because of COVID, and went to school half the day. So that was really nice. And then I realized, like, I don't know if I want to do, like, open my own bakery or anything because it's so time consuming. And then I realized that I love God. I mean, no, I knew I loved God. I realized that I want to find a way to show God to more people and spread His word more. So I wanted to focus on that. And I decided to go to this college called Washita Baptist University. I started there in 2020, and I roomed with one of my best friends now. We were best friends for a while, but we did have a little bit of a break some of junior and senior year because of something that happened that is stupid that we shouldn't have not been friends over. But yes, we roomed, and I'm so happy that we roomed together because I don't think that I would have had as good of an experience if I didn't go with her. Because she was the only person I knew going in there, and so thank the Lord that I had her by my side. And it was such a God thing too, because we were so scared to like meet new friends, because we're both like outgoing with each other, but when it comes to meeting other people, we're like, I don't know if I want to go talk to them, because I'm a little scared. What if they don't like us? But across the hall, there were these two girls, and I remember us being like, oh my gosh, they look so sweet. We got back to our room, and also, these rooms were so freaking small, you guys. They were smaller than my apartment, 2 people living in it. You shared a bathroom with the person next door to you. The closets were like this wide. There was no door. Like, it was so small. The sink was in your room. It was, I don't know, you guys. It was so weird. There was like no storage at all. It was an experience for sure. It made us a lot closer. But the girls next door were like, we want to be friends with them. And then one day, they slid a note under our door, and it was a sticky note. It said, do you want to be friends? And there were 2 boxes that said yes and then no. We obviously checked yes. And we were like, oh my gosh. And it was like the girls in 327 is what I think our room was. I think theirs might have been 207. I don't know, actually. But we slid it back under, and all we could hear after that was them like screaming like, oh my gosh, they want to be our friends. And it was such like a happy moment. We're like, oh my gosh, like, Emily, did we make friends today? Like, this is so exciting. After that, we spent every single waking moment together. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I remember, like, we had a few snow days at school where we just, like, would order a pizza and just hang out together all day long, watch movies. And that was genuinely such a God thing, like, that we were able to meet and that we grew such a bond together because we were able to help each other throughout our college experience. Like, I don't think I would have made it as far as I did without them. So, we met them, and then I ended up getting an internship my sophomore year of college through, or at this church. It was like 45 minutes away from where I went to school at, because my school was in the middle of nowhere. But it was really cool because I was in a social club with my friends, and this one girl knew that I was like into like ministry stuff and wanted to potentially go into ministry. So she was like recommended me to the youth pastor because I needed a girls leader. So I did an interview and everything, and I got it, and I was there for a year. I was there from beginning of my sophomore year to the end of the summer before my junior year started. So it was really awesome and exciting to get to do. Um, I I think it was nice to be there because I was with middle schoolers, so it showed me that middle school was not what I wanted to really lead, like full-time women's ministry, um, or youth ministry, girls ministry. I can't think of the right words. I'm so sorry. But it was still really nice. But I think it prepared me because I ended up moving back home right when my senior year started, which I'll go back on that in a minute. But I think it really prepared me because I ended up being a girls leader for 7th grade girls, and it was so awesome to get to be with them. But I was only with them like once a week, so that was really nice. But I ended up going back a little bit. I ended up transferring back home to Arkansas. It's honestly crazy how it happened because I finished my junior year. I was still planning on being there. Like I said in my last episode, like we literally had an apartment and everything with my roommate. And I got home for the summer and I was talking to my mom because about like school and stuff, and she was like, Rosalind, like I really wish that like you'd move back home. Like I know you're not going to because you want to finish out at Washington because you have 1 year left, but like I really wish you'd move home. And I was like, I know, like I'll be done soon. Little did you know, I was thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, dang, like sometimes like I kind of feel like I would just move back home. Like I really wish I would. And then one day my sister was like, Rosalind, I miss you. You should move back home. And I was like, bro, what is going on here? Like, are you guys like in my mind? What's going on? So I talked to my mom and dad and I was like, guys, like I know I literally have 1 year left, but like I think I need to come home. Like I just like feel like I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Like my time is up. And so I told my roommate and I told everyone in the social club. I was like, hey guys, just to let you know, like I'm leaving. I'm going back home. And I'm like, watch them think I'm doing it for my boyfriend. Because me and CK had started dating into midway through my sophomore year. So we've been together for 1.5 years at that point. And I was like, watch them think that's why I'm doing it. Like, I don't want them to think I'm just doing it for him. I'm like, we'll still be the long distance at that point. So I ended up moving home. And praise the Lord that I did, because I got a whole 6 months with my family before I ended up moving here to Kentucky, which I'm really happy that I went home, because if I did not have that time with my family, I think I would have gone crazy if I had just immediately moved here, because it helped me to like grow my relationships with them. Oh my goodness. It helped me to grow my relationships with them and like my little brothers and my sister, my mom and my dad more than I had been before. So I was so thankful for that. But towards like October, November, I told my parents, I was like, hey guys, so it's been like on my mind a lot that like I kind of think I might want to move to Kentucky. And they obviously were like, you're our oldest daughter, like I don't want you to move. And just like making sure that like I knew everything would happen. Like I'd be paying for my own things. Like when I get an apartment, I'm paying for that. Like they're not helping me with it, and just making sure like I understand all those things. Which, so happy they raised me the way they did, because I would not be financially stable without them, if I'm being so honest. But that happened. I ended up moving here in January, and I ended up staying with CK's brother and sister-in-law. I had texted them before I even like found a job or anything, because I was like, hey guys, like I'm not sure like what your living situation is right now, but like I know you have that extra room that CK used to live in before he moved back with his parents. Is there any way that I can stay with y'all? I'm thinking of moving to Kentucky. And they were immediately like, absolutely, like yes, we'd love for you to stay here. So I'd stayed there for about like a month and a half or so, I'd say. And then I ended up getting my apartment, and I am in love with her. She's amazing. She's so cute. She's a she, if you didn't know, because she's girly. Just like me. We love her. So that was really nice. I think my biggest concern with moving to Kentucky was like finding a community, making friends, and like finding a church to go to. And I'm not gonna lie, I did struggle at first, because CK's dad is a pastor at a church, but it's like a Swahili speaking church from my knowledge. So I've never been, because I don't speak Swahili, obviously. And CK would go sometimes, but his schedule was so crazy that some like Sundays he wouldn't be able to, with like soccer and stuff. He'd be out of town. So we decided to find a church to go to together. The first one we went to, I liked the preaching. But so it was a mega church. I come from a mega church in Arkansas. They have one main pastor, and they have like 11 or 13 like locations, but he's the only one that ever preaches, and he's only ever at the main campus. So it's always live streamed. So I was like, I can get the same thing out of this and just stay in my bed. So I don't think I want to go to this church anymore. And CK agreed. So we ended up trying another one. We tried a few more, I believe. But we found this one that we both fell in love with. Like, they're so nice. Anytime we go in, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys came back. Like, so happy to see you guys again. And I love it there. I'm not going to lie, I've not been going the past few Sundays just because CK hasn't been able to go, and I've been too nervous to go alone. But I'm maybe better at going on Sundays now. So, yeah, maybe I can talk more about the Sunday services with you guys. But the Sundays I haven't been going, I've just been listening to like the sermons from either that service or my parents, I guess the church that I used to go to back home. But I think now I'm at the point where I'm just like, I have like a church that I like to go to, so now I need to build community. And I actually met someone who lives in my building literally 2 doors down from me, which is so nice. And her and her husband are like Christians and everything. They go to church, so it's really nice to like get to talk about faith with her. And just like have like another like Christian couple that like love Jesus, I guess. So that's really nice. So I'm just like trying to build my community now and build that up. So we'll see where things go. I think in the future I'm going to try to get into like youth ministry and stuff. My only thing is like I don't know how much longer me and CK will be living in Kentucky because like he's graduating just in December, and wherever he gets a job, like that's where we'll be, you know. Eventually then we'll like get married soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed, you guys. If you know CK, be like, hey man, when are you gonna get married? I'm just kidding. I love you, babe, if you're watching this. But still, please do it soon. I'm just kidding. Alright. That's my testimony. So, I'm still loving Jesus to this day, and still learning from him each and every single day. I'm not perfect. I'm still a sinner. I still make mistakes, most definitely, but I'm trying. I'm trying every single day, and I think that that's what's important. And I hope that this testimony helped you, hopefully. And like, once again, like I was saying at the beginning, your testimony does not have to be a huge life-altering event to be important. Your testimony still matters. It can help one singular person. That is all that matters. If you can help one person. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm hoping with this podcast I can help one person at all. That's what I want to do. But yeah, that's my testimony. And now I'm going to answer some questions that you guys might have. I don't know. But it's actually so funny because I was talking to my mom the other day, and she was like, hey, these are some questions you can ask or like answer. And it literally is from AI. She typed in here, ideas and questions you could explore on your podcast about faith, life as a young girl living on your own. I'm like, that's actually hilarious. There's like 50 questions on here. I'm going to do like 3 to 5. But let me find the one I want to do. Okay, first one. How has your faith evolved as you've grown older and more independent? I think my faith has grown more because I've learned to have my own faith. Because as a kid, most of the times you believe whatever your parents believe. And like I still have the same beliefs as my parents, but I was able to explore it my own and realize like what I believe and like if I do believe the same thing as them and if I want to do anything differently. So that was really nice because you are your own person whenever you become older and like think things through and make your own decisions. So I think that I've just grown a lot more in my own faith through me personally and had more encounters with God and more experience. So I think that that is really important to like know, like as you get older, like you're the one that's gonna be making your decisions for Christ and yourself and all that stuff, you know? Next one is, how do you find time for spiritual practices amidst a busy schedule? That's a great one because my schedule is always so chaotic and over the place. So I think for me, I use the First 5 app. I think I mentioned this in the last one because we did the Bible study last time. And it can literally take 5 minutes to do it every single day. And I think that's what I try to do, because even if I'm on the go, I don't have an excuse. If I'm sitting in my car before I go to work, I can read that. If I'm on my lunch break, I can read that for 5 minutes out of my 30-minute lunch break. Then I'll have 25 extra minutes to scroll or do whatever the heck I want. So I think that is really important. And also just praying throughout your day, praying whenever you have a moment, or even if you're in the middle of doing something, just pray there for take 5 seconds to be like, dear Lord, I pray that you would help the situation and be here with me and give me the right response. Amen. As simple as that, you guys. How do you deal with peer pressure or societal expectations that conflict with your beliefs? I think this kind of goes with the first one. Whenever you start to make your own choices and decisions and your own, what you believe, it's really important to stick with those and trust yourself in that. And sometimes you're going to be tempted by society and the world and be like, hey, you should do this because, why not? You should do it. We're all doing it. But if what you believe goes against that, stick with what you believe in, even though everyone else is doing it, because in the end, you're doing this for your relationship with God and for God himself. So, don't give in to the world. At the end of the day, it's better to listen to God and mess up a little bit than to listen to the world and still mess up. You know what I mean? I think that makes sense, hopefully. How has being part of a faith community or the lack of it impacted your spiritual growth? I love this one. As I mentioned, I'm still working and growing my community. And I think before I had started doing that when I moved here, I was struggling with my faith with God. I wasn't going to church, really. I wasn't in my Bible every day. But since I've slowly grown my faith, my relationship with him more and my community, I've seen myself just being in his word more and wanting to learn more about him, because then I get to talk to my friends about God and it makes me more passionate about him and just the things that he's teaching me. So I do love that, absolutely. What books, podcasts, or other resources have inspired your faith journey? So I mentioned last time again, but I've been reading this book called, what's it called? It's called Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. It's either Jenny or Jeannie Allen, I don't know, but I just say Jenny Allen, so I'm really sorry if I'm wrong, if you're somehow listening to this. But that one's so good. It's about anxiety and fear and getting out of your own head and trusting God through everything. And then I mentioned this earlier too, but my favorite podcast is Christ with Coffee on Ice. So good. I've been listening to it nonstop on my drives. That's what I listen to the way on work. I'm so sorry for that interruption, you guys. My camera said the battery was exhausted again, and I filmed an outro to this after that, but I was not recording on the microphone. So we're doing this one more time. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know, and you should follow me. But thanks so much for watching. Love you guys. Bye.